I slept with my employee, then found out he was my CEO's son. The forbidden night. It started with one drink. One innocent after-work drink that turned into something I never saw coming. I had been working at Blackwood Enterprises for nearly 5 years, climbing the corporate ladder with hard work and ambition. As the head of marketing, I knew that keeping a professional image was crucial. But then, Liam happened. Liam was the new intern. Young, confident, and dangerously charming. His ocean blue eyes and casual smirk made him impossible to ignore. At first, I brushed off his flirtation as nothing more than a harmless ego boost. But that night at the bar, something shifted. Maybe it was the way he leaned in when he spoke. Maybe it was the way his hand lingered on my waist when he steadied me after I nearly tripped on my heels. Or maybe it was the fact that I had been lonely for far too long. One drink turned into 3. 3 turned into whispered confessions. By the time we got into the cab, my body was already craving him. We barely made it through my apartment door before his lips crashed onto mine. Clothes hit the floor. Moans filled the air. His hands knew exactly where to touch. That night, I forgot about work, professionalism, and consequences. That night, I was just a woman falling into the arms of a man who made me feel alive. The morning after, I woke up to sunlight filtering through my curtains, and the scent of coffee. Liam was standing in my kitchen, shirtless, casually sipping from my favorite mug. My brain struggled to process reality. "Morning, beautiful," he said, flashing that dangerous grin. I should have told him to leave. I should have drawn the line right then and there. But instead I smiled back. I had no idea that this one mistake would come back to destroy me. The shocking truth. For the next few weeks, Liam and I danced on the edge of forbidden territory. Late-night texts. Hidden touches at work. Stolen moments in the office supply closet. I told myself it was just a casual fling. But then, everything fell apart. It happened during a company gala. The CEO, Richard Blackwood, was making his usual rounds, shaking hands and delivering his powerful speeches. I had always admired him, a ruthless businessman, a billionaire, and the man who signed my paychecks. But that night, as I stood next to Liam, I noticed something strange. The way Richard looked at Liam. The way Liam shifted uncomfortably when Richard spoke to him. Then, Richard placed a hand on Liam's shoulder and said, "Son, we need to talk." Son. The world stopped. I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. My stomach dropped. Liam wasn't just some intern. He was the CEO's son. Panic and damage control. I couldn't breathe. I had slept with the boss's son. Not once. Not twice. Too many times to count. Liam saw the panic in my eyes and took my hand, squeezing it gently. "Let's talk about this," he whispered. But I couldn't. I couldn't even look at him. I needed to think. I excused myself, rushed to the restroom, and stared at my reflection in the mirror. How the hell did I let this happen? Would Richard Blackwood find out? Would I lose my job? Worst of all, had Liam known this whole time and never told me? Confrontation. The next day, I stormed into Liam's office. "You knew," I accused, my voice sharp as a knife. "You knew you were the CEO's son, and you didn't tell me?" Liam sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. "I didn't think it mattered." Didn't matter? My voice rose. I could lose my entire career over this. He stepped closer, his eyes darkening. "I didn't want you to treat me differently. I wanted you to want me for me. I wanted to be angry. I wanted to slap him. But the truth was, I did want him. And that terrified me even more. The CEO knows." The storm I had feared arrived faster than I expected. A week later, I was called into Richard Blackwood's office. I had never been inside his private, top-floor office. The view was breathtaking, but the look on his face was even more intimidating. "So," he said, his piercing eyes locked onto mine, "you've been sleeping with my son." My stomach twisted. My voice failed me. Richard leaned forward, hands folded on his desk. "Do you think I'm stupid? This company has eyes everywhere. And now, I have employees whispering about how my senior marketing director is involved with my own flesh and blood." Shame burned through me. I opened my mouth to defend myself, but he held up a hand. "I should fire you," he said flatly. I felt the blood drain from my face. But, he continued, Liam told me everything. And against my better judgment, he seems to care about you. I blinked. What? Richard's expression remained unreadable. I don't care what you do in your personal life. But if you screw up my company's reputation, you're done. Do you understand? I swallowed hard. Yes, sir. As I turned to leave, he added, and for the record, you're too good for him. The aftermath. After that, things changed. Liam and I couldn't sneak around anymore. Our secret was out. And the office was buzzing with gossip. But something else had changed too. I had gone into this expecting nothing more than a fling. But Liam had fought for me. He had stood up to his father. He had refused to let me take all the blame. And somewhere along the way, I had fallen for him. One evening, as we sat on my couch, Liam turned to me with a serious expression. I don't want to hide anymore, he admitted. I took a deep breath. What does that mean? It means I want this, he said, taking my hand. I want us. It was terrifying. The risk, the judgment, the consequences. But as I looked into his eyes, I realized he was worth it. So, I did the one thing I never thought I'd do. I took a deep breath, smiled, and said, okay, let's do this.